royal family mired in one of its biggest crises in history.
Prince Harry, Meghan Markle and their children could be set to lose their royal titles. And when Prince William becomes monarch,
Prince William now winning this huge battle with his father King Charles for there to be an Act of Parliament introduced at Westminster to jettison not just Prince Andrew, Beatrice and Eugenie, but also Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Archie and Lily once and for all. You thought the Prince Andrew scandal was the end of the changes that are coming under King William V. Let me tell you.
You're not going to believe what's unfolding right now. London woke up crackling with a kind of tension you can almost feel in the air. Whispers are flying so loudly they might as well be echoing off the palace gates. And these aren't coming from random commentators. These are senior royal insiders, the polished, careful voices who almost never break character. But today, they're in deep, serious discussions about something nearly unimaginable. They're actually weighing the possibility of removing Prince Harry's royal titles. Yes, removing titles from their own flesh and blood. It's a move no monarch has dared to touch in more than a century. Yet inside those ancient palace corridors, something major is shifting. What started as quiet murmurs has reportedly turned into formal, structured conversations, official, intentional, and undeniably real. It's as if the monarchy itself is preparing for a clean, precise cut. This isn't your everyday royal drama. This is the kind of moment that could shake the entire institution. This could be a full-on royal earthquake.
And Prince William still believe Meghan Markle is a bigger threat to the royal family than Prince Andrew.
And Harry? He's definitely not sitting somewhere quietly scrolling headlines. The prince who once walked away from the royal world is already on a plane, speeding toward London. And this isn't for ceremony, tradition, or some warm family catch-up over tea. He's coming back to battle. Insiders are calling it a personal intervention, which alone tells you just how intense things have gotten. He's flying in to stop something major, and he's not waiting for anyone's permission to do it.
Say there is a growing feeling within Buckingham Palace that Prince William is winning the argument and that Charles may have to take a political stance on that.
You have to realize, these whispers didn't just materialize out of thin air. For months, Buckingham Palace has been sitting under a strange, heavy tension, like dark clouds gathering but never breaking. Everyone sensed something was coming. Talk of a royal crackdown had been simmering quietly. And the moment Prince William stepped in to take over his father's responsibilities during King Charles's harsh battle with cancer, everything shifted. Those quiet murmurs hardened into real movement. Behind those towering, tightly guarded palace gates, a subtle but powerful change is unfolding. One that has the potential to reshape what the monarchy itself stands for. In the middle of all this turmoil is a son fighting desperately to keep hold of titles that have defined him his entire life. Titles from the very institution that once welcomed him, only to later push him to the edges and mark him as an outsider.
Knows that it is unpalatable for the British monarchy to keep this disastrous couple in the mix when it comes to Andrew and Fergie, but also to have Harry and Meghan constantly dragging down the brand. Both couples are an issue.
Yeah, I feel very strongly that Harry and Meghan should be.
And the question everyone keeps asking is this: why now? Who's actually moving the pieces in this royal chess game? Is it the ailing king, the sharp-minded heir, or the palace machine itself, the silent, relentless force that has endured every scandal thrown at it? Because if these reports are accurate, the monarchy isn't dealing with a media storm. It's staring down a battle of blood versus crown. Harry's sudden sprint back to London isn't just about hanging onto a title. It could be his final chance to secure his place in the royal story before the doors close for good. London, 2025. The atmosphere around Buckingham Palace isn't festive or hopeful, it's heavy. Not the kind of heaviness that comes with state ceremonies or royal announcements, but the tense stillness that follows when the palace chooses silence. With King Charles stepping back from duty to focus on his illness, Prince William has carefully taken the reins, steady, strategic, and absolutely committed to protecting the monarchy at any cost. And then there's Harry, the prince who walked away. Once admired as the fearless soldier and beloved spare, now viewed as the family's most unpredictable problem. The man who traded royal obligation for business deals and public battles. The palace isn't the same as it once was. But neither is Harry.
Don't you miss that feeling, getting lost in a story that feels like it was written just for you? If your heart needs a little magic, click on the link in I button or in the description or pinned comment. It's waiting at infowebster.com. Go feel something again.
So ridiculous, and what O'Brien said about him being a military hero is as ridiculous as when Harry got that award for being a hero of flight. I just about fell off my chair when I heard that, a hero of flight.
Every explosive Netflix reveal, every interview sprinkled with pointed accusations, every subtle dig piece by piece, it's all worn down the royal image. And then there's Meghan, the woman who turned the palace backdrop into a stage for global branding. Her rumored luxury cosmetics line, supposedly inspired by royal elegance itself, has sent shockwaves through royal circles. Inside London's power corridors, this isn't being viewed as simple ambition. It's being read as pure exploitation, profiting off the very institution they publicly claim to have broken away from. And according to palace insiders, William isn't looking at the Sussexes as family anymore. To him, they're a branding nightmare, a liability, a contaminating force nudging against the carefully constructed, meticulously polished royal identity.
Knows that it's not just Andrew and Sarah and Beatrice and Eugenie which need to be dealt with. It's Harry, Meghan, Archie and Lily too. And he wants his father to be tougher. I think that has to happen. I really...
At this point, the royal aides aren't wondering if action will be taken. They're whispering about when. Timing, after all, is everything. With the king's health declining, William's hold on the monarchy grows firmer. His loyalty has shifted from sentiment to survival. In his eyes, forgiveness doesn't signal compassion anymore, it signals vulnerability. And if that's the mindset shaping decisions behind closed doors, then Harry's sudden dash back to London isn't about patching things up. It's about facing the consequences. Think back to where this all began. A prince falls for an American actress and the world is instantly enchanted. A royal wedding straight out of a modern fairy tale. Unity, diversity, a bold new chapter wrapped in a crisp white gown. The cameras saw romance. The palace saw a chance to reinvent itself. For a brief, glowing moment, it truly seemed as if the monarchy might evolve. But fairy tales fade quickly when reality creeps in. By 2020, Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal responsibilities, unleashing a shockwave across the globe. No more courtiers, no more rigid hierarchy, just Harry and Meghan, free to tell their truth, no matter the fallout.
Joke then, here Harry and Meghan are getting awards for being humanitarians. And humanitarians don't treat family like that. They don't betray their country like that.
But this is where everything shifted. That freedom, once celebrated as bold, courageous, and groundbreaking, slowly morphed into a full-fledged franchise. A media empire built not on what lay ahead, but on the echoes, secrets, and shadows of the institution they walked away from. Podcasts breaking down royal privilege. Documentaries reshaping past events. Every private grievance transformed into global headlines. Harry spoke of healing, yet each interview tore the scabs open again. With every revelation, the palace's silence looked more suspicious, feeding critics and fueling controversy. Across the ocean, the Sussex brand skyrocketed. But in London, William's patience fractured. This wasn't a family dispute anymore. It had become a strategic PR war. The more Harry and Meghan spoke, the more the monarchy took the hit. Public opinion shifted. People stopped asking why they left and started asking what they might unravel next. And inside the palace, they finally understood. This wasn't just two royals stepping away. This was a direct threat to the institution's survival.
Since they hate it, they didn't like the royal family. They left 5-6 years ago now because they hated it all. Okay, go away. The Queen wished them well, but that's not good enough. What they want is to keep on nagging, to keep on making things difficult for anyone who's royal.
It all began quietly, just like most things in the royal world do. A murmur here, a cautious comment there, a whisper in Parliament. A single, almost throwaway line tucked into a Sunday editorial. Talk of a new law, one that would allow royal titles to be stripped through an official vote. At first it sounded ridiculous, something no one believed would actually move forward. But those whispers turned into early drafts. Those drafts became closed-door meetings. And before long, the message coming out of Westminster and the palace was unmistakable. The monarchy was preparing to do some serious cleaning. Prince Andrew was the obvious first name on the list. But according to those closest to the situation, William's list didn't end with him. The second name? His own brother. For years, Harry had demanded distance from the royal machine. But now that distance threatens the very foundation of his brand. Suddenly he's the prince again, but only when it benefits the cameras, the interviews, the deals. While William has been playing the long, steady game of duty and stability, Harry has been playing the short, loud game of documentaries and televised confessionals. Meghan, ever the strategist, has turned almost every spotlight into an opportunity. Her royally inspired business ventures blur the line between legacy and hustle, and the palace is watching closely. Behind those immaculate palace doors, aides began compiling everything: polls, trends, analytics, spreadsheets filled with cold, emotionless numbers. And the verdict? The Sussex approval rating had sunk even lower than Prince Andrew's, something no one in the royal PR world thought possible. That's when the palace hit its breaking point. But instead of easing off, Harry pushed harder, doubling down, positioning himself as both the wounded outcast and the heroic truth-teller. A contradiction so glaring that even the tabloids, notorious for choosing sides based on convenience, couldn't pretend not to notice.
Far to say that Harry is a traitor because he betrayed his country. He betrayed one of the leading institutions of his country, the monarchy. He disgraced the monarchy. He disgraced.
And now the dynamic has changed. The palace isn't just reacting anymore. It's planning, calculating, executing. Deep within the walls of Buckingham Palace, where centuries of history echo off marble corridors, the monarchy has always lived by one harsh, unyielding rule: survival above all. Love, loyalty, sentiment, none of it matters. Survival comes first. With his father's illness sidelining King Charles, William has stepped firmly into the driver's seat. His vision is clear: a monarchy stripped of scandal, streamlined, untouchable. No more messy tabloids. No more revealing memoirs. No more private dramas played out like primetime Netflix content. The chaos has to end. And Harry and Meghan? They've become the cautionary tale. What once looked like a bold, romantic rebellion is now the ultimate case study in what happens when royal privilege collides with personal branding. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about family grudges. This is about brand protection, preserving the crown at all costs.
Absolutely disgusting. They don't deserve to have any attention from the royal family. And the more that they go on and on about it, the harder.
Behind those imposing palace doors, aides have given it a name: the Restoration. Calm on the surface, but underneath it's anything but. This is a ruthless recalibration of power. Here, family ties take a backseat. What matters is the institution's survival. Meghan's luxury ventures, Harry's relentless televised grievances, they're no longer personal dramas. They're liabilities on a ledger, numbers to be calculated, risks to be managed. And the cruelest irony? The royal titles Harry once seemed willing to toss aside like old clothes are now the only lifeline connecting him to the crown. Without them, he's not a prince in exile. He's just another celebrity chasing the spotlight. Meanwhile, the monarchy, stripped of all sentimentality, will endure, as it always has. But Harry and Meghan? Their future is starting to frost over. They're no longer just the rebellious couple, they're the cautionary tale. A living warning to anyone who dares challenge the crown. Step out of line, and you could be next. Across the Atlantic, the empire they tried to build, the Hollywood-glossed, power couple fantasy, is losing its luster. The world that once worshipped their every move is growing weary. The Hollywood crowd that once adored their fairy tale rebellion now watches with polite exhaustion. Those grand speeches, the heavily staged moments, Even their blockbuster Netflix series, yes, it broke records, but it also sparked backlash. Viewers didn't just watch, they judged. Words like indulgent, whiny, and luxury grievances started circling like smoke that refuses to dissipate. Every polished tear, every raw confession began to look rehearsed, calculated, performative. And once the public senses performance, the magic fades. Even loyal defenders are whispering the same question. How long can you really monetize resentment?
Let me be clear, does not believe his father, the cancer-stricken king, has gone far enough. He thinks Andrew should not even be a prince. He certainly should not be in the United Kingdom. Exile is the only answer. But the problem is that requires an act of parliament. That act of parliament, I am told, William also intends to use to finally jettison the...
In Washington, where they once aimed to become power players, the doors have quietly started closing. Invitations that once flowed freely have dried up. Advocacy groups that amplified their voices are stepping back, not because the message shifted, but because Harry and Meghan have become the very reflection of what they once criticized. The palace's control, its calculated branding, its image management, they've now made it their own calling card. And Meghan? Her ambitious rebranding push, the glossy cosmetics line inspired by royal elegance, only sharpens the contrast. She's packaging the very system she claims to have rejected. To critics, it's no longer empowerment, it's opportunism in designer lighting. And Harry, the memoir that once made headlines for courage now reads more like a diary of entitlement. Every interview, every tell-all, every carefully constructed truth chips away at what little sympathy remains. The once adored soldier prince now looks like a man fighting shadows, consumed less by what he believes in and more by who he opposes. They thought they were escaping the shadow of the monarchy, but they've built a smaller, harsher one of their own, lit not by the quiet dignity of a crown, but by relentless, burning spotlights. The public that once saw them as the bridge between royalty and reality has grown weary. Once, they symbolized hope, the fairy tale couple bringing centuries-old tradition into the modern age. But that promise has fractured under the weight of contradictions. Every speech about compassion followed a luxury sponsorship. Every plea for privacy was trailed by yet another camera crew. In Britain, fervent support has cooled to something worse than anger, indifference. Ask around, and the consensus is clear. They wanted freedom. They got it. Now what? Even their staunchest defenders admit it. Grievances can only be repackaged so many times before they stop sounding like truth and start sounding like a business model. Perhaps this was inevitable. Perhaps the monarchy's most rebellious son was always destined to learn that freedom without restraint is just another cage. Now, as the palace tightens its grip, legislation looms, and the crown prepares to strike, Harry is flying back to a palace that no longer sees him the same way. This isn't a reunion, it's a collision between the past and what remains. The spotlight that once crowned him is now dissecting him. Every motive, every gesture, every word scrutinized. And Meghan, the actress who once commanded global attention, is trapped in a role the world has stopped believing in. Perhaps the cruelest irony of all, for all their talk of authenticity, the one thing they've made undeniably real is the fallout. Behind the glossy photos, the streaming deals, and the meticulously lit confessions lies a merciless truth. Reputation isn't a right, it's a rhythm. And once you lose the beat, the world stops listening. The palace may move to strip their titles, but the public has already done something far more powerful. They've taken away credibility. Power doesn't always end with a crown. Sometimes it ends with silence. And that, perhaps, is the most unsettling part. If the royal family can erase its own blood to protect the throne, what else can they erase? What else haven't we been told? For those who want to see just how deep this pattern runs, watch our previous investigation into Meghan's mother's shocking confession about Archie and Elizabeth.